This video was brought to you by Nebula. This is a Boeing 777, and this is its interior as configured for American Airlines. Inside, you'll find 216 seats in the economy cabin, 28 premium economy seats, 52 in business, and 8 of their so-called flagship first seats, totaling 304, taking this flight from American Airlines' headquarters in Dallas-Fort Worth to our headquarters right here in London. The thing is that while this map might give you a good impression as to who sits where for the 9.5-hour journey across the Atlantic, it doesn't reveal much about how American Airlines actually makes money from this flight. Because at an investor event earlier this year, they announced that they expect to make an astonishing 80% of their revenue from passengers in these premium cabins and from loyalty programs. So let's unpack the business of business class and explain how airlines actually make their money.
Ladies and gentlemen, this will serve as a final boarding announcement for Flight 2450.
When it comes to American Airlines' recent announcement, they said that they expected to make the majority of their money from premium cabins and loyalty programs. Now, the business of loyalty programs is a complex, separate issue, so we're not going to get into that today, but if you'd like us to, then you can subscribe and let us know in the comments. For now though, let's focus on airline classes and uncover why airlines earn quite as much as they do from premium cabins. Because it's not just Americans saying this. Their competitor Delta has also reported record growth in these cabins, saying that these seats have become a bigger share of their overall sales, and is now growing faster than ticket sales in the coach cabin. So let's take a look at the economics of each cabin in turn, using as an example the flight I mentioned earlier, flight AA78 going from Dallas to London. Now I'm going to be looking at flights in exactly 3 months' time, Thursday the 8th of August 2024, and returning 1 week later. Now if I wait a literal eternity for the AA website to load, yep, this hasn't been slowed down either. It really is this slow. And no, my Wi-Fi doesn't suck, this is just their website. We finally find that a seat in the main cabin, that's their economy offering, will set me back £798 for the most basic return ticket. That ticket will land me somewhere here, at the back of the plane in the least comfortable seats. But that's not my only option for the main cabin. If I pay about £150 more, I'll get a main ticket, which will also grant me the ability to choose my seat for free, one checked bag, an earlier boarding group, and the ability to make flight changes. It's still the same seat, but it's got some extra soft perks. That's not all either. For another £200, I can move up to Main Plus, which gets me another checked bag, bumps me up a boarding group, and allows me to select an extra legroom seat. Again, it's the same physical seat, it's just that this time you get a little more space from the row in front. And that's these seats here. Now, not everyone is going to be charged the same price for all of these tickets. Where in the world you buy your ticket, when you buy your ticket, if you buy your ticket directly from AA, if you have status, if you have a connecting itinerary, all of these things can change the price of your seat. But let's do some basic maths. If all of these extra legroom seats are sold for £1,157 and the remaining seats are split between basic economy and main, then the airline is set to earn £164,970 from the main cabin on this route, plus an additional $32,396 from those extra legroom seats. This is just the beginning of the upselling though. The real money is made in the next cabins, like premium economy. Up here, the layout is slightly more spacious. The seats are wider and recline further, you'll probably get nicer food, and you'll get to board the plane sooner. In return for those benefits, you'll pay approaching £1,000 more for the return journey, and combined, this cabin will earn the airline £58,072. The real money, though, is in business class. Here, you'll get a lie-flat seat, better food, maybe even a metal knife and fork, access to an airport lounge, and the ability to get on the plane ever so slightly sooner. For this, AA will charge you £3,126 return. Now, there might only be 52 seats in this cabin, that's barely 5 rows back in economy, but it will still earn the airline revenue of £162,552, nearly 4 times more than those 52 people back in basic economy. And while these numbers aren't totally accurate, they are reflective of the ratio between the earnings in the front and back of the plane. Anyway, right at the very front of the plane, you'll find 8 people in what American Airlines calls Flagship First. Sitting up there gets you a luxurious seat with tons of space, but it'll also get you an increased baggage allowance, access to fancier lounges, plus a host of other perks depending on your airline, from a chauffeur to an onboard shower or bar. Oh, and of course, you'll get to board the plane first. In return for all of that, you'll be charged £5,136, which means that these 8 people alone pull in a revenue of £41,088. But what's the point I'm actually making here? Well, the economics of air travel is actually a good example of an economic principle called price segmentation. Fundamentally, all of these tickets offer the same basic utility. They transport you from Texas to the UK and back again in August this year. But depending on which option you choose, that could cost you anywhere between £800 and £5,000. And this is great business for the airline for 3 reasons. Firstly, price segmentation allows them to maximize profits by making sure that wealthier customers, or those who are just putting it on the company card, have the opportunity to spend more. If all seats on the plane cost £1,000, then that's a lot of money left on the table if 8 people are willing to pay £5,000. Secondly, it maximizes market share, allowing airlines to pick up as many people as they possibly can, filling flights and increasing the routes offered by giving customers tickets at every viable price point. And thirdly, it gives the airline more flexibility. If a flight isn't selling as well as they hoped, they can adjust individual price points and bump up passengers in order to maximize profits in the cabins which are most likely to sell out on the route in question. And this price segmentation is actually key to many airlines' success, allowing them to charge vastly different prices for the same basic utility. If we return to the plane from earlier, you can see that these 52 seats alone earn 35% of the money on board, and more generally that the 116 premium seats on the plane earn 64% of the money, way more than the 188 people at the back of the plane. Getting the segmentation right is actually pretty crucial for airlines these days. According to McKinsey, prior to COVID, airlines made $110 billion from the sales of ancillary products. That's upgrades from aisle seats and premium meals to private car transfers. And that number is actually significantly more than the airline industry's total absolute operating profits in the same year. So this $110 billion isn't just a nice luxury milked from less price-sensitive customers, it's also vital for the whole industry. And without them, many airlines would fail to return their cost of capital. So why are these business seats in particular so valuable? Well, when it comes down to it, the things that airlines can offer customers fall into 3 broad categories: transport, space, and luxuries. When it comes to transport, all tiers of tickets are getting the same thing. All 304 people will end up in London. But when it comes to space, there's a big difference, with the average one of these economy seats taking up about 4 square feet of space, while business takes up something like 12 square feet and first class around 35. Here, passengers are paying more money for more space. Although it is worth noting that although business class passengers are getting more space, they're also paying more per square feet than their neighbours at the back. First class actually generally breaks this rule, sometimes earning the airline less per square foot than economy, which is one of the reasons why first class is actually kind of dying out. Something we could cover in another video if you subscribe and tell us to in the comments. The third thing they're selling, though, are those little luxury bonuses: the nicer food, the airport lounges, and the priority access. The thing is that those bonuses are often relatively cheap to provide. Sure, the fancy food does cost more per plate, but those consuming it are paying vastly more for the privilege. In any other environment, if I was offering to charge you £4,338 for metal cutlery, a fancy waiting room, and the ability to spend even more time in a metal tube than necessary, you may well tell me to f*** off. Not with airlines, though. These extras obviously aren't pure profit. Airports want money for the lounges, more bags burn more fuel, as do those big seats. But these benefits don't cost the airlines anything close to what they're charging, hence those massive ancillary revenues. But business and luxury travelers are happy to pay the difference. If you're flying a lot, if you're less price sensitive, or if you're not even the one paying, then why do you care if the company is charged a little more? Your peanuts are warmed and you get to feel fancy when you board the plane sooner. So why not upgrade? Well, that's how business class and the other premium cabins essentially pay for the rest of the plane. These seats are the maximization of the price segmentation model. They're the people willing to pay the most for the least actual benefit. And that's why, with fancy sales pitches, credit card bonuses, and lovely leather seats, airlines are so keen to get you into these business class seats. If you haven't heard, we've just launched a project alongside our partners at Nebula called Nebula News, where every day the TLDR team curates a selection of videos that matter the most in the world right now. As you surely already know, Nebula is the thoughtful streaming service that's pushing boundaries on what independent creators can do with their content, including Nebula News, where we handpick a feed of content that should help you keep up to date with everything you need to sound smart and be truly informed. We believe that in a confusing and overwhelming news environment, knowing what to pay attention to is important. You can't track every story, so our curation should help to surface what really matters, showing you videos from TLDR and other superb creators that will help you understand the world around you quickly and easily. It's not just the curated news content brought to you directly by us. Nebula also features loads of exclusive original content. That's things like Real Life Law's brand new series War Room, which every month runs you through a whole load of ongoing conflicts to keep you in the loop. You can also watch every TLDR video on Nebula ad-free, and in many instances, before they land on YouTube. Now, if you're already subscribed to Nebula, then you can find the brand new Nebula News section at nebula.tv/news. And make sure to bookmark or save that link so that you can use it as your TLDR-ified news homepage. If you're not a member already, you can click the link in the description to sign up now. If you do, you'll get 40% off an annual plan by using our link. That's less than £2 a month. Plus, Nebula will know that you came from us, which really helps us out.